Welcome, friend. Welcome to Strawberry Shift, where, yes, you already know it. We have enthusiasm for love, and today is day 19 for Celebrate Compassion. Okay, how was it? Did you do it? Did you decide? Did you make a decision on how you're going to contribute in your local community? How can you serve? How can you add value? You know, there's so many ways. There's an abundance of ways. And this is where there's something that happens when we volunteer or when we do service in our local community. There's something that happens inside us where we know our presence matters. You know, when you think of your lowest moment in life, I know that for myself, and I know with working with so many people, the worst feeling is to feel worthless, right? And so when you donate and when you serve and when you volunteer and you do that, it creates that experience where you remember the truth. And no matter what you're doing, like when I shared the story about volunteering, like I'm just filling up water in a bucket and I'm feeding horses hay and cows hay, and I'm feeding the goats and the pigs and all of that. It's very simple, but I know how much that means to all those animals. And I know how much that helps out the founder, Dominique, so she doesn't have to do it all the time. And so that makes me feel good about me. And it's something that is so simple that gets me out of my fear, and it's very healing. So I'm super excited to hear your stories. I'm super excited to hear your experience and what comes up for you, what surprises you. Today, day 19 is about sharing it, because when you do something like this that is good for the community, especially in your circle of influence, especially with the people around you. It's interesting when I started to share with some of my friends about what I'm doing, the reaction that I got surprised me because I wasn't expecting that. Is, oh, I need to do something. And I realized, I contemplated that and I thought, I didn't share that to have them like feel guilty or anything. But then when I contemplated more about why did I get that reaction? Why did I get the reaction of, oh, I need to do something. Oh, you do that? That's so cool. I should do something. I need to do something. And I realized that yes, it might ignite, it might trigger guilt. And we don't want necessarily guilt. But when I contemplated deeper on what's really going on, this is a natural thing for us to do as human beings. Us being so isolated, and again, I know I'm making fun and I know I keep doing this, but this is not natural, right? You agree? Like how isolated we are. And so when you share what you're doing with others, so if you did like a Facebook Live and you said, hey, look at, this is what I'm doing. I love it. It's so cool. This is what it's been giving me. When you share that with others, what it does inside all of us is this innate desire to serve our fellow human beings. All of us have this. Okay, maybe they're like extremely mentally ill, with the exception of like sociopaths and psychopaths. Okay, let's just put them on the shelf. But everybody else, right? Like it's innate in all of us to want to serve humanity. Looking at how the geese fly, together, and it's always in that perfect V. Animals, how they herd. How do they know how to do that? How they help each other out? How do they do that? There's all these animal documentaries that just shows you the intelligence we've all been given. And I would say the more that I've studied psychology and why we're sick and depressed and addicted is because we're disconnected from our natural self. We're disconnected from nature. And so when you share your story of how much fun you are having serving, how much fun you're having volunteering at your hospital, how much fun you're having volunteering at your farm sanctuary or the Humane Society or local community of some sort, how much fun you're having. Or my niece loves picking up trash. If you're like, I don't want to join an organization, I don't want anyone to tell me what to do, and you just like get one of those trash picker-uppers and you just decide to go and pick up trash. It's up to you. This is how you want to do this. So like my niece, my beautiful niece Kendall, like she has that and she's like serious and she goes and she picks up trash. So it's like when you share that, you inspire others. When I saw my niece Kendall doing that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get one of those. I need to pick up trash. Oh my gosh. Like that immediately, my niece Kendall immediately inspired me to want to pick up trash. Why did she do that? Because it's in me, but it's dormant. So when someone like my niece Kendall is alive and doing something beautiful that is in alignment with her heart and her soul, and then she shares it, she turns that switch on and the people around her. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get one of those trash picker-uppers. I need to go ahead and do that. So how cool is that? Today, I invite you to share it. Share about your experience. If you haven't started yet, or if you haven't begun, you could simply share that you're going to and how excited you are. And then when you go and you do it, share what it was like. What did you love? What surprised you? Maybe what was hard. Sometimes my volunteering at the farm sanctuary has been hard. I shared with a friend that I'm like, I was so embarrassed. The trash cans, because the trash comes on Monday. And so since I volunteer on Sunday, I help pull out the trash cans. And it was really hot one day. And I was so hot. I was starting to get a headache and wasn't feeling good. And I was just like, oh, I can't wait to go home. And I had to pull one of the trash cans and I was so embarrassed because it was too heavy. And I was like, ah. And I think if it wasn't so hot and I wasn't getting like a headache, but I was like struggling. And here comes Dominique, and I'm like 5'3", and I think I'm going to guess Dominique's maybe 5 foot and 90 pounds. And she's like, I got it. And she just took it. I was like, oh my gosh. She's like, oh, don't worry, Mandy, I got it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, how are you doing this? You were not human. There's like a hard, funny story, but this is life. Getting hot and not being able to pull the heavy garbage can and then seeing beautiful Dominique, 90 pounds, be able to pull it. Like, I got it. Oh my gosh. Like that's living, that's life. I got a story. What's your story? Share it. It's going to inspire others. I can't wait to hear. Take care, my friend, and congratulations completing day 19.